7 degrees. Yikes. I am deep in Nevada at one of the least visited national parks in the country. Doing things a little bit differently this time, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. Possibly even very cold. I'll explain more on the way. So I am in Great Basin National Park, which is Nevada's only national park and covers a section of the Snake Range, which is actually only a fraction of the Great Basin, which refers to both a desert and a drainage basin. And this park's a relative unknown, especially compared to its neighbors over in Utah. So to put things into perspective, the last time a backcountry permit was issued before mine was in December. So 4 months ago. So not a lot of travel, especially this time of year. So this time around, I'm not actually chasing any summits. It's just gonna be backpacking about 20 miles over 3 days. It's a little bit of a more pure experience. Doesn't feel like I'm trying to win anything really. So why Great Basin? So in my attempt to keep visiting new national parks, I kind of hit a wall because I had visited every national park in the Mountain West except for this one. So I just had to make the long drive and come give it a look. There's already quite a bit of snow, and I ran into a few deer. So far so good, I think, but snowshoes I think are going to come out pretty soon. Alright, it's snowshoe time. It's already below freezing and it's only going to get worse from here. Predicted temperatures in the teens overnight. I think the priority right now is finding a semi-dry spot to set up camp. I decided to leave the shovel at the car, so it'd be nice to be able to set up not on snow. There isn't exactly a trail I can follow, but the path of least resistance proved to be the correct one. I'm pretty sure those are mountain lion tracks. So, not something you love to see, but they tend to avoid people. All I'm really looking for now is a place to set up camp, because losing daylight. Well, the idea of a dry spot was a little bit of a lost cause, but at least I found a flat spot. I'm going to use the last little bit of daylight to set up a camp. And then I can kind of get comfy from there, start making dinner. Well, needless to say, it's cold. So not a whole lot left to do through the night. Camp is set up. Here's the snow depth check. Yeah, quite a bit of it. So, see you tomorrow. Finally got a little bit of light. Don't quite want to leave the cocoon just yet, but it's quite a relief. So that was one of the longest and coldest nights I had in a long time. A good sleeping bag will go a long way, but my sleeping pad has kind of a faulty valve, so it tends to run low overnight, which pretty much meant part of me was laying on snow most of the time. That's a hard one to get past. And also my nice flat spot proved to be not very flat. So I was always sliding down. But sun is coming up and I'm just about ready to start moving again. So I was tracking the temperature and the overnight low was 7 degrees. Yikes. The sun is a very welcome sight right about now. get a chance to warm up. This is probably my best opportunity to refill water, which just gotta melt some snow down. I took a wildly inefficient route through the trees, but seem to have converged back onto the saddle that'll eventually reach Johnson Lake. Get to go downhill a little bit. The sun is working wonders, but still have quite a bit of ways to go before we get to the main spot. Got some actually dry trails on this side of the ridge. Only it was like this when I was looking for a campsite, but it's all good. A couple more miles and I'll start thinking about having some lunch. I'm here at Johnson Lake. I swear there's supposed to be a lake behind me, but there's been quite a bit of snow. We're at kind of the demoralizing part of the day. Despite the nighttime cold, feels really hot in the sun, backpack feels heavy, feet are feeling heavy in the snowshoes, and I've got this big head wall behind me. So I need to make a decision on how I'm going to approach it. Okay, so here's the situation. Nominal path would have been to go up and over this saddle and connect it over to Baker Lake on the other side. But what I'm seeing here is a number of cornices lining the top, some remnants of previous sliding, and it's particularly steep and already noon, and we've got a lot of sun. So all that together, that is a slope that I do not want to be on. So I was semi-prepared for this. There's another path back over the previous ridge that'll keep me on sort of a loop trail. I'll have to skip Baker Lake. I'm not crazy about backtracking, but kind of got to take what you can get. I think the repeated path is only going to be a couple of miles, so it's not actually that bad, all things considered. I'm at the old mill for lunchtime, then I'll continue. A couple of deer friends just up the way. I'm back up to the Snake Creek divide. I hadn't originally intended to come back this way. Every uphill section is completely draining, but this should be the last one. Things have been a little bit tricky because on my GPS, a lot of trails are marked, but the ones that I've been on haven't. So it's been a lot of walking, check GPS, walk a little bit more and repeat. So hopefully I can find the actual one coming down from it this time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't find the trail, but I'm back where I need to be now. Okay, I'm back on track. I missed the sign before, but I was off somewhere on the other end of this meadow. So it's looking promising. It was a fairly pleasant walk down the South Fork of Baker Creek. At this point, I kind of have two options I can go. One is ever so slightly shorter. I think I'm going to go that way because I don't think I gain a whole lot by extending the trip. Really, at this point, if I see a dry spot to set up a camp, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Well, I managed to find a campsite. It took me long enough, but I think it'll get me through the night okay. Only thing I don't like is there's not water really close by, but plenty of snow that I can melt down. In all honesty, the last 24 hours have kind of sucked. Not in a way that I wish I hadn't done it, but the bitter cold and deep snow have been physically and mentally demoralizing. This is definitely one of those things where you don't really start to grow fond of it until several weeks have passed and there's a little bit of detachment. Then you start to realize that you did something really cool. But at this point, I still have to stick it out another night. It's already sub-freezing right now. Won't be in the teens or single digits, but it's going to be cold. But fortunately, the worst is behind me. Should be only about 4 miles or so to get to the car. Once the sun goes down, not much more that you can do. Way too cold to just hang out. So I'm just hoping for the night to go faster than last night did. Last night was much better. Not great sleep, but a few pockets of deep sleep. Stayed in kind of the mid-20s the whole time. So cold, not as cold as the night before. Rather not linger here for too long. I think I'm just about ready to get out of here. This is the Baker Creek trailhead. And in a different time of year, I would have been able to drive all the way up here, park, and then start the hike from here. But during the winter, they closed the road about 3 miles up. So I need to cover that distance, which is fine and something I'm prepared to do. I regularly have to ask myself, why do I keep doing this? Why subject myself to days of extended discomfort, extreme conditions? I think part of it is the fact that you have to push your limits a little bit to find out where they are. There's a lot of personal growth that comes with taking on the challenges and coming out the other side. But I think what's bigger is just the perspective that it puts on things. There's sort of an addicting feeling of that deep breath of fresh air once you're finished, and everything tastes a little bit better, sun shines a little bit brighter, knowing that you've made it through. So, soon enough. As I approach the end of the line here, I really only have good things to say about Great Basin. It's not very often that you have an entire national park all to yourself. And coming winter, you have all the problems that comes with. But I'm glad I came out here. It's really a hidden gem. The dichotomy of the mountains, the vastness of the desert really gives a cool aesthetic. And it gets my recommendation. So I'm happy to be done. It's been a long haul, but here we are. Until next time.